Faith. It's so good to be with you all again. I'm excited to be today talking to two co-founders of an awesome, not only organization, but an awesome conference that brings together creatives and entrepreneurs and thinkers and makers across different backgrounds, all for the service of the kingdom. And they've been doing it now for years. I'm excited to have with me today Denya and Cellus Hamilton to talk about their organization and their upcoming event. There Will Be Fruit. Known them for a long time. So good to be with you, Denya and Cellus.
Man, we're glad to be here. Grateful for this opportunity
Yes.
and to talk about what we're up to.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. And so the first question I have for you all is tell me about what is There Will Be Fruit. And I know you can talk some about Sow and Tell in the midst of that, but what you guys have been doing is amazing. And especially for young people, for young professionals, there's
Mhm.
not a lot out there in the space. Can you tell us about what you guys do and who you are?
Yes, for sure. So yeah, we are the co-founders of Sow and Tell. It started as a creative agency where we offer services such as social media, marketing, strategy, implementation, artist development, writing sessions, and now events. And so
Mhm.
our signature event that we have annually in the spring is There Will Be Fruit. And really the goal is just to create a space where entrepreneurs, professionals, and creatives can come together and just reminded that God can use them in the marketplace. In the industry that he has called us to, whether that is in marketing, in hospitality, in tech, and to also connect each other, right? Because we cannot go into this journey alone.
Absolutely. Yeah. The only thing I'll add to that is that what makes it unique, particularly, is that in New York and in many other cities where the faith and workspace is predominantly white,
Yep.
and very, it's just a completely different space that you don't see any black people in the room, you don't see any people of color in the room at all. We actually allow this space to be led and ran by black people and people of color that can really share not only their expertise, but what they're also up to in the faith and work field. And that's what makes it unique and special.
Absolutely. And I can attest. I mean, there are so many spaces for faith and work that you hear about recently, but to do it for folks of color and have them in mind and to still be impactful and diverse is really something. You guys are coming up on how many years and what has it been like for you to go from, I know you started online during COVID with this
Mhm.
conference, and now it's grown to an in-person event with lots of attendees. Can you talk about what that journey has been like for you all?
Yes, yes. And by the grace of God, we are already planning our sixth one in
Wow.
April. And like you stated, this vision God gave to us during the pandemic. I was in a program here in New York City called Gotham, and it was just a fellowship where believers came together for 9 months to learn the theology of work.
Mm,
And because I noticed that the audience of the content wasn't really relating or relevant to the community that I identify with, as well as the community that I serve. You know, we live in Harlem, New York. You know,
mhm.
Black and brown people do ministry with Black and brown churches. And I just felt like we weren't represented. And I truly believe that God wanted us to fill that gap so that we could just come as as our authentic selves, and show up and showcase how God is definitely using us. And so I'm grateful. We started on a Zoom, right? It was actually a 3-day Zoom event.
Wow.
And I mean, Alan was actually one of our speakers in the beginning as well. So we're grateful for you.
Yeah.
Uh, Really, I just tapped into my network that God gave me and wanted to showcase what faith and fashion look like, what faith and media look like, faith and food, faith and music. And then over the last few years, we were able to pivot to in person. And so our first in-person one was in 2023, I believe,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Mhm.
And so we just rented like a space in downtown New York, and yeah, it was we I didn't anticipate such like a big or full room, and we actually first started with just panels. And then once we received feedback, once we received just, more vision from God, he led us to do breakout rooms,
Mhm.
that would just impact, what different people were going through. And also people love like the intimate spaces where they can, talk to each other and learn from one another and grow. So now we pivoted from just panels to now breakout rooms and devotionals, and it's just been really, really cool to see God.
Speakers,
Yes,
everything. Yeah.
devotional speakers, and then like networking mixers. So yeah, God has truly been expanding us, and we're grateful.
Wow. So it sounds like it's not just a conference that you might expect to go and just sit and listen, but it's really got some interaction and
Yes,
engagement. Can you talk
exactly.
about what is it that people could expect going to that conference, connecting with what you guys do at There Will Be Fruit? Can you talk about what that experience is like? What is it that people are being drawn by the dozens to come be part of?
Yeah, one of the incredible things that we see is people really love the fact that you feel like it's an exciting place, an exciting atmosphere. You've been to places where you feel like no one's here is actually intentional about meeting one another, but you get this sense that people show up feeling like, I know that the people in the room have something that they can offer me. I know that the people in the room have something that they can help me with. I know that they're on a similar journey. And so the excitement comes from the people wanting to actually genuinely connect. And then us providing spaces where they're going to get a chance to sit at tables and be kind of positioned where they can meet people in their similar industries and their fields, but also to have moments where they're able to even relax around a meal and have some entertainment in the middle of sessions and things like that. So it's really just a space where people can come together, feel like they're going to really connect, not just be talked to, but actually get a chance to leave with some connections and people that they can walk their industries and their their career paths with. And I feel like that's what kind of draws people each year.
Yeah, I always say like people come for the content but stay connected because of the connections and the people. I've seen the fruit, literally pun intended,
Mhm.
of of these spaces. It's not just like a conference. I believe what we're doing here is like a movement because the faith and workspace is so fresh to our audience. This next generation of believers who are passionate about their work but also passionate about Jesus. And so it's like, all right, we're coming here knowing that at least we have two things in common. We work and we love Jesus. And
Mm.
so, that expectation is there. But once they get to the room, number one, they experience the Holy Spirit because what we do is led by God. So his presence is there, goes before us. And then not just like coming in, seeking people who can help us, but also seeking people who we can serve. So
Mm.
that's what I've experienced as well. So
Yeah.
a prime example is I met a young lady. She found us on Eventbrite, randomly decided to sign up to come to our event. She bought a VIP ticket, which included the VIP mixer the night before.
Mm.
That's something that we did add this year, which we want to continue. The VIP mixer is that Friday night before the Saturday conference, where it's just a more intimate space, kind of like a kickoff in a sense, where we invite our sponsors, our partners, our speakers, and our VIP guests to just come to know one another and get hype about what they're about to experience the next day. And so this young lady came off of Faith, and she was just blown away by everything. She came to the conference the next day, and she also does production.
Mm.
So she recorded a lot of content, and from there she launched. Actually, she was already in the process of launching, but she launched her podcast called Minds of Renewal, and from there she was actually able to connect with a future guest of her podcast who is Gyra Athletics. It's a faith-based athleisure company. And so
Wow.
just seeing their podcast come to life because they met at There Will Be Fruit has been just so cool to see. And from there, she's also led Bible studies for ministries that she was encountered with at the conference as well. So just seeing like the tangible outcome of these kingdom collaborations has been so amazing to see.
Yes, that's it. People come to the conference, they work together with people they met at the conference, and
Hmm.
their dreams kind of flourish in
Yes.
ways that they always bring back to this is someone I met in the room at the conference, and
Hmm.
we've stayed in contact and we've continued to
Yes.
build from there. And it's great.
Wow, that honestly, it sounds like you guys are creating fertile ground, you're tilling
Mm.
fertile soil. So
Amen.
when people come and bring their seeds, like that's why there will be fruit. Like the
That's
image is just
it.
coming together in my mind.
Yep.
Yes.
Amazing.
Exactly, exactly.
Uh, two more questions. Second to last one is for folks who may be struggling to find how they can be faithful and still at the same time do work, in a world that's complex and
Mhm.
industries that feel more uncertain than ever, where there may not be as many opportunities. What advice would you give them about being able to be faithful and still be impactful or successful as they're trying to toe that line, that world of faith and work as believers?
Yeah. One of the things that we've uniquely begun to think about is how we can speak to the growing population of people who don't find themselves in industry where the line is as clearly drawn between secular and sacred work.
Mm-hmm.
And we recognize that with the changing industries, with AI innovation and with all these things, there is a need for people to um, learn that there is some flexibility in what it quote unquote means to be faithful, even in the lines where they're not clearly drawn, whether this is sacred or secular work.
Mm,
And so that's been something we've been leaning into, and we've also just been recognizing that. Um, we all have multiple skills, and a lot of times we lean specifically toward maybe something that we're most passionate about, but we may not be as perceptive to how our other skills can actually open up lanes that are necessary and that kind of are in the direction of the world is going.
mm,
So we also encourage people to look at all of the things that they're good at and kind of figure out how they can maybe spread their gifts around. And we
mm,
think it's very encouraging as well in a changing world.
mm,
Mhm. Mhm. And I would just add on to say that um, yeah, like work is just an opportunity for worship. So wherever you're placed, God is using you. And I was reading a devotional the other day about faith and work, and it talked about how the marketplace is the most time we'll spend in and the most influential. So why not just like allow God's will to happen in that space through you, whether it is with a coworker or a boss or people that you contract with. And so using these as opportunities to be the hands and feet of Jesus, to live out what we're learning on Sunday mornings or whenever you worship, is what we want to just give advice on who's in this like faith and work journey.
Last question for you all, and I try to ask it to everybody who comes into urban faith and is able to share with our audience. If you're talking to folks who are young, they may be in high school, they may be just out, who are trying to figure out, how can I be impactful? How can I um, just live the life that God has called me to?
Mhm.
Be fruitful. How can
Yeah,
I be fruitful?
yeah.
Um, what advice would you give someone young trying to figure out how to walk in that and be fruitful?
That is so good. Okay. So I something that came to my heart when you asked that, because it's so big to want to kind of like raise up the next generation or your successors and equip them. And the first thing I would say is number one, like stay connected to the vine, right? And it talks about John and to just in John how Jesus is that true vine. So once you're connected with him, you understand what your purpose is. And then not just connecting with him, but connecting with community. God offers us obviously perfect community with him, but then he allows us to be in community with each other. And what we mean is like getting plugged into a local church, getting plugged into, Bible study, worship, and then events like these where you can learn how to be an effective professional entrepreneur or creative in God's way. And so, because at the end of the day, we're all being discipled by something, whether that's the world or the church. And so, we need to be just positioned in a way where God can use us and effectively according to His word. And so, stay connected to Him, stay connected to each other, and seek wise counsel in
Mm.
any space that you're in, whether that is the professional space, a spiritual space, because God is a holistic God. Yeah.
Yeah, and in addition to that, I'll add that I often consider the things that most burden you. Like I tell people often that there is something that burdens you about the world. There is something that deeply gets you passionate to the point of you want to debate it, you want to fix it, you want to talk about it and dream about ways that it could be different. And a lot of times within those passions that the Lord has placed inside of us, there is also the capacity for us to lean into it and be the answer
Mhm.
to some of those problems. And so I just encourage people who are on that path trying to figure out where they can be fruitful. Think about what bothers you about the world, connect that to the mission of the kingdom, and lean into it and do something about it. And I think those are some good tools to help you kind of figure out where you're supposed to be.
I love it. Thank you all so much for the time, for sharing your gifts. And when is the conference? How do they sign up? Tell me, how do the people reach you and get connected to There Will Be Fruit?
Yes, we'd love to have you. So next year's conference is Saturday, April 11th, 2026, here in New York City. You can stay updated by following us on social media on Instagram at There Will Be Fruit, or check out our website, sowandtell.co.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for sharing, and I look forward to more fruit from you all. Bless.
Amen. Thank you
Absolutely.
so much, Alan.
Thank you.